let's take a look at the gameplay. So obviously, I'm coming into this blind. Obviously, I don't know what happened in this game. So what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of go over what you did and discuss what you could have done instead. And try and just kind of tackle some of your thought processes. So kind of the way you think about things, decisions you make. So I'm not going to be like, oh, I can't believe you did that. Like, what a silly decision, you know? But
Mm.
I am going to be like, okay, why you did that. And kind of find out the thought process because that's where you're going to learn the most, to be honest. So he is looking to cheese you a little. Oh, unlucky that we didn't actually get him with that Q. Right, so what do you think is going to be the first thing I'm going to mention?
Um, it- can I get a hint? Question mark?
The it's kind of hard to give a hint actually. Um, it's to do with where you're looking at.
Oh, is it like that? Like I have a locked camera.
Yes, for sure. So locked cam is one of the worst things you can do because, like right here, so there's two things. So the first one is your hood is really really big. You don't really need it that big. You can put it all the way to the smallest size possible, and it's still fine. Um, the next thing is it's also blocking out your lane, right? So you
Mhm.
can't actually see the Timo because he's here because this is blocking your area. So what you want to do is, and also it's really bad for you, right? Because think of how your eyes are moving. Like your entire screen is moving, which makes it so much harder. Whereas what you want to do is your the only thing you want to be moving is your champion. So what you want to do is think of every single kind of time as like a frame, and just be like, okay, where does my frame need to be in this exact moment, right? So like here, it's like back here, we don't really. There's no information here, right? We're not gaining anything from here. So what we'll do is we'll just move the camera to like here, and then we'll just leave it like that, and then we'll just see like this. And then if you need to adjust it at any point, what you do is say this is your screen, you nudge it. So you just move your mouse up to the corner like this, and you just nudge the screen ever so slightly. And by doing that, you'll be able to move the screen slightly and still do what you need to, but while being on locked cam, unlocked cam, sorry.
Okay.
So it's super super important. Okay, we get that. Okay, so Kane's on his way. So you just wanna, in this situation, you just wanna hit these minions because you're about to get level 2.
Yeah.
Okay, we did get that though, which is good. Oh, okay. Whole squad is coming. So here now, what you want to be doing is make sure you get these. Mm, do you get that one? Oh, so see the main issue there though is that you were building as you had minions to take. So don't start building until your cannon starts getting focused, because your cannon has so much more HP that it'll take it a lot longer to die. So then you have time to build.
Okay.
Also, how many fingers do you place on your keys? Do you?
Um,
Where's your pinky finger?
tab, and then I have ring finger Q,
Okay, good.
middle W, uh,
Okay,
index E. Yeah.
so that's okay. So that's not too bad. So can you reach control with your pinky or
Yes.
okay? So you want to get into the habit of reaching down to control and then leveling up your abilities with that.
So wait, so that's how you do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you hold control and then you just click Q W E or R on the keyboard. So
Okay,
it
thank
just
you.
instantly levels it. Because, like, for example, in that first fight where we were level 2, we were about to turn 2. So here, and see how we had to move our mouse all the way down just so that we could get that. So because of
Mhm.
that, did you see the panic in your kind of clicks there? So there's like a little bit of panic in how you're moving your mouse, see? So you get it and you're like, oh, got it, and
Mhm.
then go for the kill, right? So what that's because of is A, because you didn't realize you were going to go level 2. So do you know how many minions you need for level 2?
No.
Okay, so it's 7. So it's going to
Okay.
be the first wave and then another minion. So you've got all your minions here, great, in this kind of first wave. And then as soon as the second wave comes, that's where you're going to get level 2. So we've got this, okay, great. So see here, how we've only farmed one wave, right? And this is how close we
Mhm.
are. So all we need to do is hit, or get one minion, and we instantly get level 2. So making sure you know that it's 7. Now the reason why this is important is because what you can also do is, in some situations, if you know exactly when you're going to get level 2, you can walk up to the minion, hit it, and then instantly do a combo. Now, obviously, this doesn't apply as much to Ornn, I guess, but on some champions it does. So let's say you're playing like Darius, um, then it's super, super important because you can do so much with your 2. So yeah, it's just handy to know. So then, yeah, we got this. Okay, good. So what are we building first?
Jack Show in this game.
Ah, okay. Okay, so another thing as well, don't panic as much with hitting minions. So like here, it's like you don't really need to hit this, right?
Mhm.
So it's like what you often want to be thinking is, what purpose do I have to hit a minion right now? Obviously, one of the main ones can be to last hit it for gold, but if you don't have any other reason, then just kind of be like, wait, why am I actually doing that?
Okay.
So like for example, that minion there, you could have got that if you just weren't auto attacking so much. Because what ends up happening is you auto, and then you're trying to put a second auto in, but it's not ready yet. So then what ends up happening is you either get it very, very last second, which is very difficult to do consistently, so it's probably not good at this rank, or you miss it like that. So just like play it slow, just when they're ready to last hit, then just last hit them. So like here, see? Like, we didn't really need to push the wave, so there's no real need, right? Like, especially because we don't really need to back yet either, you know? So yeah,
Yeah.
just, just play it slow. The Wait, did you have access to the academy or?
The are you talking about the Virkayu boot camp?
Yeah. So the academy, the if you look in the bootcamp chat, I gave everybody free access to the academy for a month. So in
Hmm.
there, if you message Braden about that, there is the last video that I put on our game plan actually has a section at the start where I go over like what you should be thinking of with minions to farm them. So that will help you quite a lot just to understand kind of how you can do a drill. Because what you can do is 10 minutes in practice tool, and all you do is last hit the minions, and you just look and watch and see kind of what happens with the wave. So that's going to be really, really handy for you, and it's something that you can do as a drill that's really, really good.
Okay.
Because, like, for example, here, what's happening is your minions are hitting this cannon, right? But look how many of them are hitting it. All of these casters at the back end up targeting this cannon. So what then ends up happening is we need to take into consideration how much damage they're going to do with their autos. So, like there, we should already know that that's going to kill them. Because what you kind of do, and it seems complicated at first, but it does become easier, trust me, is when you're looking at these, you want to go, okay, well, how much, this easier if it's on unlocked cam. It's a little hard unlocked. But one of the things you're looking for is you're like, okay, this has this much HP. And then what you do is you go, okay, well, let me just, once more. So you go, okay, those minions, it was here, and those minions did one rotation of attacks, and it ended up here. So then what you do is you go, okay, well, there's more than this amount left in HP. So then what happens then is you go, okay, well, because it only took that amount, I'll just wait for them to attack once more, and then you know that you're going to auto-attack. So it makes it really, really easy. So it seems complicated at first, but it will become easier with time.
Okay.
But yeah, so now the awkward thing about this now is what we need to do is we need to get this wave into the tower. So as a top laner here, you've cleared all your minions, right? There's nothing for you to do. But one thing that you do want to do is imagine this is like the halfway point in your lane. The game is symmetrical, right? So if we were to slice it down the middle like that, we find that red side is identical on both sides, and blue side is identical on both sides, right? But what is also identical, because it's like a mirror, is where our minions are positioned. So like these minions here are at your tower, right? So what that means is these minions that you've just pushed, they're never going to reach the tower, because if yours are here, that means his are right behind him here too, right? So what you can do is you can go, oh, okay, well in that case, I need to keep pushing. So what you do is you'd walk up to the wave, and it doesn't matter how much HP you lose, as long as you don't die, you get it pushed in and then you recall. Because what's going to happen then is your wave is going to crash into the tower, and from there it will then bounce back, all like guaranteed. So it's really, really handy. Yeah.
So what's a bounce back?
So a bounce is basically when the minions hit the tower. What ends up happening is the next wave of minions stacks up. So actually, I'll show you on RiftKit. It'll be better. So what ends up happening is as soon as the wave comes up to the tower here, your reinforcement wave will stay here. Now, one thing to know about lanes is if this is the halfway point, where the minions are on each side determines what's going to happen with the wave, right? Now, if nothing has happened so far in the first wave, that'll come to this point, which is like a break point. So here is the same on every lane. It's a point where the minions will naturally come to and start fighting each other. Now, what that then means is if you have more minions on this side, then it will always push in, right? But what also happens is it's from the opposite side too. So if you're here and you have less minions, then you need to play defensive. Did you watch the day one bootcamp session?
No, I didn't. I missed a lot.
Oh,
But
no
maybe catch
worries.
on.
That's fine. So I went over kind of push and pull there a little bit. But what this means is if you can basically predict what's going to happen, right? Now, you can also hold the wave at different points, but you need more minions for it, right? So let's say, for example, your red side, and the wave is here. You can technically hold it with like one minion, but you don't really care about this spot. The spot that you really care about is around about here, because what ends up happening is you can keep a very healthy amount of minions, and you can basically keep the wave here permanently. So the reason why this is important for you to know is because if you're playing things like Ornn, the champions that will really hard beat you are the ones that really want to freeze the wave back. So what they do is if you have 3 extra caster minions, and the wave is here, then it will just stay there for the rest of the game. If nothing changes, it will just stay there permanently. So obviously that doesn't usually happen, but the issue that you're going to have is because the wave didn't crash. What he can do here is he can just hold this wave in this location. Now what that then means is that for you to farm or get XP, you have to walk to this area. And obviously, if you're in this area, what do you think is going to happen?
Um, it leaves me vulnerable to a gank from their Yi.
Yeah, yeah. So what can happen is if the jungler sees that you're extended and you're stood like here so that you can farm these minions, he's just going to go, okay, I'm going to just come up, and then he can get behind you, which then means that you have to walk through him to get away. So what will usually happen is, who was the enemy jungler for this game? Sorry.
Yi.
Yi. So what Yi will do then is he'll walk here and he'll just keep auto attacking you. Auto, over. And then as soon as you flash away, he will use his Q to catch up with you. So what it means is you can never technically escape. If he plays it properly, it's impossible for you to escape that situation. So letting your wave get kind of held is something that you really don't want to be doing. So you walk up, you break it by just clearing it away with a W or Q, and then it comes to the tower. Now, when it comes to how the minions actually move, that's based on what's called reinforcements. So every 32 seconds, the wave will reach this point from here, from the Nexus, right? And every 30 seconds, you get another wave from the Nexus. So it'll come up, bum. What this means is your wave is only just arriving to here when the next one is coming out. So what can technically happen is here they will reinforce at the exact same time, right? Exact same time they reinforce, great. But let's say the wave is here, and this kind of leads into why freezing is possible. If the wave is here, then these reinforcements are going to come out, bum, but they're maybe only going to take 29 seconds to get here. So what that means is the enemy minions have to take that extra time. So instead of it being 32 seconds, it's going to take the enemy minions 35 seconds to get here. So because of that, it means that your minions have already spread out, basically, which is when they do, you know how they go like this.
Mm-hmm.
So what that means is these casters in the back are all targeting the same enemy, because when this wave comes up and there's just this little one here, right, that's going to be the first thing that comes in range. So they're all just going to go for that. So what that ends up happening is it pushes the wave then. So that's why you need the extra minions, so that they don't move. And what ends up happening is the new enemy melees will come and sit at the front, and then the other caster minions will sit at the back. So then you'll end up with a permanent 6 caster minions to 3 melees, and that's how you keep that freeze. So again, this doesn't matter too much. A freeze is kind of advanced, but the main point is to understand kind of how the minions basically interact with each other. Because the sooner they reinforce, the sooner they push, and then the sooner they go into the enemy tower. So what that means for you in this situation that we just viewed is if you get it into the tower, then they will effectively bounce back. So it means as long as you can get a wave into the tower and make theirs stop like this, the wave will end up bouncing back into you. So then you can be safe because you can farm the wave without him really doing anything. Whereas, so it's basically, it's a way that you can create safety in retrospect to, you know, killing yourself in theory, right? So this is kind of one of the basics to lane that is really, really handy to get used to. And it does seem a bit complicated, but once you start putting it into practice and actually trying it, you'll find that it's actually a lot easier than you think. And then you'll end up in these situations where you're really safe through lane. Now, another reason why I mention this as well is if, say, for example, you were playing, you were like a team player, probably wouldn't mention it as much. But because you're playing Ornn is an amazing champion to play because he has so much value later on into the game. Now, when we talk about champions in general, we're talking about what stats they use more than any other, right? So what do you think is the most important thing to Ornn's kit in a team setting?
Health or like armor and resistances.
So they're definitely important, but I mean, as in, like, what do you think the overall the best resource for you to claim is? So is it? Are you interested in gold? Are you interested in mana? Or
Probably gold, right?
okay, so a little bit. So it was more so to just kind of see if you knew this about Ornn yet. So Ornn later on into the game, do you know how his passive works?
Um, I've read it, but not really.
Okay, so what it ends up doing, and I mean this, I've coached players in like gold that haven't read abilities. I've coached players in platinum or diamond that haven't read abilities properly. Don't worry. So don't worry about that. So what Ornn's passive basically does is once you get to level 13, you can upgrade a mythic item. So you can either upgrade an ally's mythic item, so say Kane's mythic item, you can upgrade that, you can upgrade somebody else's, but you can do that at level 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. And what that ends up doing is it gives them extra stats, and each item gives about, every time you upgrade it, it gives them about 1,000 gold in additional stats. So imagine you just give somebody 3 kills instantly. You just go, here you go, congratulations. Here's 3 kills. Doesn't cost you anything. You just have to get to level 13. So it's incredibly strong because of that, obviously. But then you also get additional stats for having items as well. So I can't remember what that amount is. I think no, it is. It's so you get 10% bonus armor, magic resist, and bonus HP. So the more armor, magic resist, and HP you've bought, because it's only bonus, the more resistances you get. So for every you get 10% base, and then for every item you upgrade, you get an extra 4%, which is unreal. It's so strong. So you can upgrade 5 items, and from that you get 20% bonus from all sources on top of the 10. So in theory, you get 30% bonus everything. You get 30% bonus being a tank. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it becomes really strong. So based on that, and knowing that that is so strong when you get to level 18, what do you think is one of the most important stats or resources that Ornn actually wants?
Experience.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, good. Yeah, so the experience is the most important part to the champion, basically. Obviously, I am being a bit thinking of that. It's not the ultimate, like, you can't just know that and instantly go to, like, Challenger, of course. But if you know that with the champion and you know that XP is the most important, these kind of mechanics with how the wave pushes and pulls is the most important thing to you, because if the wave is pulling in, so let's say the wave is pulling into us, so it's always going to come to us, what we can do as Ornn is we can say, well, to be honest, we're going to be incredibly strong later on into the game, that it doesn't even matter. Like, we don't need to walk up to that wave and farm the minions, right? We just need to sit back here where we're safe, just make sure we get the experience, and that's it. That's all we need, just the XP. So what then happens is that wave comes back into us, we can farm as much of it as we can, Or what you can also do is say the wave is here and you're sat back here. What you can do is when there's a minion that's low, you can walk up and just throw your Q at it, and you put more points in your queue. You put, say, maybe 3 points in your queue, and you just sit back throwing it at the minion over and over and over. And then by doing that, you end up in a position where you still get some minions, but you get all of the XP. And then what happens is because it crashes into your tower, you then get a crash. So what you can then do is just last hit the minions, build up a really, really big wave here, and then just walk it into the tower. If you lose HP, walking it in, it doesn't matter, because if you lose a lot of HP, say you do this 2 times, and then you're quite low on HP, all you do then is just go reset, and again it'll come back into you, and then you do it again, and then it comes back, and then you do it again, and then you reset again. So do you see how there's this kind of constant push and pull motion? So this is kind
Mhm.
of what you want to be looking for the most part on Ornn, because if you can crack this, you're straight to gold. Straight to gold, honestly, because you'll just survive for so long, and you'll be huge. You'll just be super super strong at all points of the game, and then you can factor in being more aggressive and kind of going for fights because you know you can 100 0 somebody, right? So
Yeah, I, I messed up my Q cast there.
yeah, so these things, so even though these things are super important, the reason why I don't mention them really too much is because the more you play the champion, the less it'll happen. So it's like there's less need to kind of focus on them to be like, hey, look, you've just missed a Q at a minion, or hey, you just missed the last hit. Maybe if it's a cannon, but for the moment, it's like, okay, well, are you missing your Q at a minion at this point of the game in like Bronze 4? Is that really gonna matter? Like, of course not, right? So it's like, obviously it's something you'll get with time, but it's not really a big thing. Now this is actually good. So you've actually done a really, really good reset timer here. Okay. Okay. So this is actually a really amazing reset timer. Did you do this on purpose, or?
Well, I did it because I had no mana.
Okay. So what you've ended up doing here. So the reason why this is good. So that auto, you don't need to do it. But what ends up happening, why this is good, is because you've basically stalled the wave here, right? Like we were previously speaking about. You've stalled the wave here, and you've got teleport. Now your teleport early into the game doesn't matter as much because you can't use it elsewhere on the map until 14 anyway, right? So you don't really want to worry about it too much, but you want to use it to get a reset like this off because we're doing well. We're 1-0-0. We're doing fine on CS considering this is a pretty rough matchup. And we have TP and some gold spent. So the fact that we've held the wave here means that now we can TP back, and now we spent all of our gold, and this big wave is going to be forcing in. So what we can do then is we can actually start fighting and look to potentially kill the Teemo in theory, because this timer as well is a perfect timer because you're going to get level 6 anytime soon as well, right?
Mhm.
So this all in all was like a perfect base timer. So this is like really good to try and replicate kind of as much as you can and kind of take a note of, because this now gives you the opportunity to really, really punish this Teemo. You can potentially kill him here. So let's see what happens. Okay. So what? Oh, okay. So what if I told you that right there, if you hadn't have used your Q, actually no, because you wouldn't have got the minions yet. Actually, that's not too bad. See, we're a little bit too quick on that cannon, right?
Yeah.
Oh, what is this? What? Why? Why did this Kane just do this to you? Was this guy being toxic,
Um, I don't know.
or was he like playing with you or something?
I mean, he kind of was playing weird because he would just like full sequence, I think. and then like invade in full sequence, and then just like back, and he was ignoring all the objectives, and he did that.
Yeah, this the Charisma cosplay. So I know there was a famous game player that did this in a bot lane, and like everybody was like, "What are you doing? This is so bad. Like it's so terrible that you do this to your laners." Because they really mess you up here. Because what you could have actually done is you don't hit the minions and you just leave the wave here, right?
Hmm.
And then as soon as you see the teamer walk up, you instantly ult him and you just run him down. And you'll just kill him. 100-0. But because he did that, now your wave is in a position where you can't really do that. Now, Teemo didn't come, of course, but that's still very, very annoying. Okay, so this is fine though. So wave comes in. Oh, we get demolished. So in this game, I'd probably go Font of Life in your runes instead of Demolish. Just because you're into a Teemo, you won't get many demolish. Actually, no. No, it's fine. Just leave the runes as they are. There's no point really changing them too much because Demolish is gonna be better. Like 9 out of 10 games. So just keep your runes the same. You don't really need to change them too much.
Okay.
Like, because at this point of the game, like at this kind of level of the game, it's going to be more important to focus on kind of how you play rather than things like your runes, even items to some degree. And because like there's a lot of things that we've covered already that it's a lot to learn, but obviously once you know to learn it, it becomes much easier. Now, here is an example of some of the things you can do on Ornn though. So this is a fast combo. So this is a combo that you can do on Ornn as well, where you throw your Q out, and then you instantly ult, and then you E into it, and then ult after them, right? So did you see that fully?
Uh,
It's complicated, but it's nice to see. So even though I wouldn't expect you to be able to do this now, I think it's still nice for you to see the skill expression that exists in your champion, if that makes sense. Because
mhm.
it's like if you know what you can do on him, that makes it a lot more interesting, right? Um, so like here, for example, so here the Q down. As soon as the Q comes up, because they're slowed, you ult, and then you E the pillar, which knocks them up. And then you instantly R on them again, and then you can just kill them off, right? So it's a little bit tricky to do, but that's what you look to do in that situation. You know what I was telling you here? Okay, you could look to just 100-0 Teemo. That would be something that you'd look to do. Now, obviously, you can kill him anyway without having to do that big fancy combo. But if you know it exists, once you're a bit more comfortable on the champion, you can maybe try it in practice tool, and then you can try and do it in a game. And that way, that gives you a nice little warm up in practice tool as well, where you can, before you play any games, you can go into practice tool and just do a few full combos, and then that'll warm you up a little bit before you actually go into games, especially in ranked. Because one of the last things you want to do is like just get into ranked and like I don't know, it's the first game of the day, like you're not feeling as confident and you like miss combos and stuff like that. So here, unfortunately, he's gonna run us down because we did kind of go a bit too aggressive here. So here, do you see how his wave is bigger?
Mhm.
So what we want to do in that situation is we don't want to hit the wave at all. Like we just want to go, okay, his wave is bigger, which means it's going to come into me. So if it's going to come into you where you can farm it here near your tower, that's way more beneficial, right? So
Yeah.
if it's bigger, just let it come in, farm it safe. Just do that over and over. What you'll find is some games, you'll have enemy top laners that will push every single wave into you. But as soon as you have resistances against them, like say you get like your steel caps, then you can literally just stand here and they can't do enough damage to you to kill you. So you can just stand there just farming all game because they'll keep pushing it, but they won't be able to push it into your tower. So it won't be able to crash unless the enemy jungler comes. But in these elos, enemy junglers won't even know this exists, right? So because they won't know this exists, they'll be like, oh, actually, I don't need to go to top lane. He's doing just fine. And then your jungler ganks. And then you get a good kill. So you can literally win games just by doing that in these elos. I think there was somebody that on YouTube once froze a wave for like 40 minutes, I think.
That's crazy. Oh my
Like,
gosh.
it was insane. I felt so bad for... I think he lost. I can't remember. But, you know, it's funny how long you can keep it there, especially as a tank, because you actually have resistances. And now he's just invested so much onto you, right? But all you need to do is ult him. So all you do now is you wait for the king to come and now just ult. But do you see... Do you see what was the problem there?
The camera.
Yes, exactly. And see, this is the thing. Now you're seeing these things because you were you were waiting to see where he shows up. You didn't actually hit it back. So this was just because of your camera. Because if you saw him there, you could walk up and then you start your ult at the maximum range so that it will guarantee to hit him. Because then he'll get slowed, and when you hit it back, then it's easier to hit him, right? So
Yeah, I pressed the wrong button there.
yeah,
It's fine.
it's you're still learning. Don't worry. Like King gets it. He'll soak an entire wave as well. Right, so I know we're focusing quite a lot on your laning phase, but it's so important to know because once you start getting a good grasp for how to play lane, then you can start kind of understanding how to play the rest of the game a bit easier. Like otherwise, it's just going to be so kind of difficult because you'll constantly be playing from behind. So it's like this is kind of the first step of this is how you learn this lane, you know?
Hmm.
Okay. And also, if you get used to unlocked camera, it makes it way easier to like ult in team fights too. Like when there's so much going on. Okay. So, one thing here. So what do we do next? Let's have. Okay, actually, this is really good. The fact you instantly start pushing it is really good. So, missing was a bit late, but again, like, that's not on you, to be honest. That's also on your team. Okay, so use TP for that. But this is going to crash anyway, right? Because there's barely anything. So there we go. So this is fine. Okay, so he's taking a lot of damage here, actually. So here we could have killed him. So because he tried to hold such a big wave. So this was kind of one of those situations where we could have just killed. Because see, he TP'd back, but he lost a ton of HP because he didn't reset first. So here you need to go, oh, okay, actually, he's missing a ton of HP. And then here, you ping that, and then your Q comes out. You actually hit him with the Q. All you had to do here was E, W, auto. You didn't even need to ult. Do you see it?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
So these things are obviously harder to see in game than when we review. This is obviously one of the reasons why we said to get POV views, just so we can see kind of what you're seeing, right? Because, for example, with how you move your camera, you kind of it makes it a little bit of a struggle to work out what you need to do. So, but if we were looking at the replay client, I wouldn't be able to see your camera, right?
Hmm.
So I'd be like, oh, why are you missing this ult? Okay, good. Okay. Ooh. Nice. Okay. Okay, it works. It's a little bit it was a little messy, but honestly not that bad. How many games would you say you have on Ornn so far?
Maybe like 3 or 4.
Oh yeah, like for 3 or 4 games, that's completely fine. Honestly, don't worry. Like when it comes to, I don't know, if anybody ever says to you like, "Oh, I can't believe that was so like clunky," like it doesn't mean anything. So this is one of the things with like in-game flame. Just don't worry about it.
Hmm.
Because like for example, where that Kane flamed you for not using your ultimate, that's probably like the seventh ultimate you've used in total. Maybe I don't know. I was thinking how many
Yeah,
ults you
no
get in a
idea.
game, but you know what I mean. It's not bad. So yeah, this is where I would have probably gone Sunfire first though. So I'd say we'll go like one build and then we'll kind of somewhat stick to that build, I guess. Just because again, it's more important that you just know what your items do, just so you can use them efficiently than kind of choosing the ultimate best build in every single game. Like you don't need to focus on that at the moment. It's not too important. So okay. Ooh. Oh, that's a big shame. That's unlucky that you didn't get to hit that back. So you did kind of get locked up for a long time here. So one of the things that you could have done a little bit different here is your W damage is kind of one of the biggest amounts of your damage. So see how you only really applied it to Set. Actually, I guess you did a little bit Alistair too. Like what you want to do is E first and then just kind of use it.
Okay.
So because you threw the Q down, if you're confident that you wanted to fight it, then throw the Q and then just E instantly, and that way you can't get knocked about by Alistair. Actually, you didn't manage to do too much, right? But so yeah, and then if you also would have committed to that too, what would have happened is you would have knocked them up here, and then you would have walked like this, kiting to here.
Hmm.
Then you'd ult up like this as Ari is behind you. Like, see, she's coming this way. So then you peel for her as well, basically, because they'll focus you. And she can then just do damage in this area. Or actually, no, they'd still be up here, maybe. So, like, here, she could do damage there, which is much easier for her to damage multiple people there. So you end up with a winning fight, basically. And if you've got Triumph on, too. Actually, no, you don't really go Triumph on do you? So it doesn't really
I
matter.
think I do. I'm not sure.
Oh wait, you do actually have Triumph on. Oh yeah, so here it does work. I think usually it's Inspiration second on, but either way. So so now we go into the Sunfire, which is good. So to be honest, we're just waiting on our ult. That's all we really need to do because as soon as we have ult up, because we have so much MR now, we can actually kill Teemo. It's past the point of him actually being able to do anything. And this is why it's like really, really good to kind of understand how to push and pull waves as well, because once you start getting your first item against most top laners that are aggressive, they just can't do anything. So here we peel for Ari. Yeah, okay. Okay, you still got it off. Nice. Okay, not bad, not bad. Okay. So yeah, team of dies bots. We get this tower. Okay. Yeah, so we probably... Wait, do we not die here? Yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah.
I think maybe we didn't have to fight back. Yeah, we were probably out, to be honest, because he's used his E there. So he doesn't have E for quite a while now. So yeah, we could have probably just ran away there, actually. And there wouldn't be much he could do. Because his E is a really big cooldown. 16-second cooldown. But still. Actually, he's level 10, so he will have 2 points, I think. Okay, that was actually huge. Shame that Ari couldn't quite kill them, though. Wait, did she get them? Oh, no.
No, she doesn't. I was so upset about this.
Ooh, that's so unlucky. I thought she definitely got them there. Oh, we got trust,
I have a
though.
question. I have a
Yep,
question.
yep.
So can you go back to that fight? Um, yeah, if you pay attention, right? I try to is it like okay, when I'm by where like the turret used to be, right?
Yeah,
And I'm trying to like do stuff, I don't know. I flash, right? Like
yeah.
is it possible from the location where I'm at to like flash over the wall to where Ari is?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think you'd have to move slightly. Hmm. I'd say it is, to be honest. Let's see where your mouse is when you try. Aha. So your mouse was over here. If we slow that down, or actually, if we just to the point you actually use the flash. And speed. See where your mouse is.
Mhm.
It's more over here. So your flash is trying to go over this wall like this,
Mhm.
if that makes sense. So because it's trying to go over this entire area, which it can't do, instead it puts you here. Whereas if your mouse was here, then it would flash you up. Because this is a much longer distance, see?
Yeah.
So I think it was just where your mouse was that
Okay.
changed things. But yeah, I think it was definitely flashable. Uh, right, so okay, and now see, like, we just one shot him. But see how you've upgraded your item
Mhm.
at 13? So that's why it's so good. So that item, Jack Show. So, for example, your item there has changed from Jackshaw the Protean to the Unspoken Parasite. So Ornn creates a different item. So because it's the Unspoken Parasite, it gets improved stats. So let's see how much it gets. So it gives 25 haste instead of 20. It gives 550 HP instead of 400. It gives 40 armor instead of 30 and 40 magic resistance instead of 30. So it upgrades all those base stats and gives you like 1,000 gold for free. So now at this point, you're 1,000 gold ahead. Just because of your item and nothing else.
Okay.
So in these solo queue games where you can drag games out, like games can take a long time, especially because it's very heavily a tank meta. You end up with these really, really long games. And because of that, champions like Ornn and Sion and Dr. Mundo and all of those big beefy tanks can get incredibly strong because the game just goes on so long. Like Nasus is another one. Like Nasus is very, very good at the minute, in my opinion. Like if he doesn't get completely kited out by an ADC, he's extremely broken. And another thing you'll get when you play tanks is AD carries won't build correctly because they don't know what the best build is. So they won't actually build to kill you, and you can just like run them down. You just 1v1 their ADCs. That was why I used to love playing Rammus so much, because as a tank, I could just 1v1 an enemy ADC every single time without fail. And it's kind of the same on Ornn.
Okay. Trying to like understand what you're saying.
Yeah, don't worry, it is complicated, but these are things that will kind of make sense with time. Okay, nice. That was a good ult. So this we go into Thorn. Unfortunately we get Thorn Mail. So if you need the anti heal, so the enemy team, um, they're not really healing. I guess they're healing a little bit. Um, so maybe we could have gone something different here. Instead of Thorn Mail, maybe we could have gone. Maybe even a Spirit Visage or a Force of Nature, maybe. Because that would have. Actually, no, Teemo's AD. Oh, I didn't even realize that Teemo was playing AD. Okay. So we could go like a Gargoyles or something as well. Or actually, we could have gone Frozen Heart too. Frozen Heart's really good here. Because like their Trist and Teemo want to auto attack, and Diana kind of does as well. And Set also auto attacks. Have you ever built Frozen Heart?
Um, I did it one time, when I was playing Kindred Jungle.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
Kindred.
yeah.
I mean, it's probably an interesting one on Kindred. But so the reason that it's so good, and it's an obscure reason, but when you're within 700 units, they get their attack speed reduced by 20%. But the majority of AD carries only have like 525 attack range. So you get
Mhm.
like Caitlyn, for example, who is the longest attack range ADC, and she has 650 range. So like if they're in range to auto attack you, then they're always going to lose 20% of their attack speed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it just means it's super good. Obviously, you've got things like Twitch and Jinx and Senna that can get above 700, but you just wouldn't really build it in those games. But even the armor is still pretty good, even in those games. Okay, so we help Harry on the dragon. Okay, so this is good. So here, what you want to do is you just want to kind of walk, like maybe to farm this bot lane. Because we don't really have gold to reset. So, because what you could do here is you can push this bot lane out, and if they come for you, then your team can do Baron. But you can potentially TP up there as well if they go to the Baron. So it's easy enough for you to kind of get there, but you can also get pressure bot lane.
See. Okay.
Okay. So how did this game end? Okay. Oh, that was a huge ult. Okay. Yep. Alrighty then. That was actually a huge team fight. You actually played that so well.
Thanks.
Then just said, nice. Okay. I didn't realize Aphelios was that fed.
I didn't either. Yeah, it surprised me.
Like, where's... Let's see, do you tab? At any point here?
I think I do like somewhere towards here, yeah.
I just
Because I
sort of see it
remember seeing him
scrolling.
having like 16 kills and like 3 deaths or
Oh,
something.
okay. I didn't actually realize he was 63. There we go. Oh, and he hadn't even got your upgraded item.
Yeah,
Oh.
that game was when I discovered that I could actually like give it to people.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Because like before that huge fight, I was clicking to move, right?
Yeah.
And I would just like stop to do the forge thing. And I'm like, why am I stopping? I didn't
Oh,
press on
yeah.
it like an
Yeah, it's
item,
really
did
weird.
I? And it just kept happening. I was like, what's happening?
Yeah. It can be a bit weird. So yeah, so see, because you're level 14, so at 13 you've upgraded yours, and now you're level
Hmm.
14, you upgraded Aphelios's. So if you would have got to level 15, you could upgrade, say, Ari's and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah,
But God, yeah, he's huge. And Kane did well, actually, in the end, but he still kind of trolled us early. Kind of griefed us a little bit.
yeah. Every single time I looked at the map, I saw him farming, like
Yeah,
in the enemy jungle.
it's not too bad, to be honest. Like,
Yeah,
that's kind of, if you can get a really fed Kane that way, it can be really good. But, I mean, don't know why they're not here when you're kind of
exactly.
ending the game, but it is what it is, I guess. So yeah, obviously, there was a lot of information, but like these are just kind of the things that I wish I knew when I first started playing top lane because they help so much. It's unreal. So even though it seems like a lot of information at the minute, just kind of try piecing it down to like a few things that you could try. Like for example, I'm going to go into a game and I'm only going to let the wave push and pull and see what happens, or go and do like that 10-minute farming practice in practice tool. So stuff like
Mhm.
that, just kind of chip away at them. And then what you'll do is you'll find that the wave will accidentally freeze, or you'll try and freeze and you'll be like, oh, actually, this is how you do it. I remember being told. So just kind of piece it together, and then yeah, go from there. I know there's a lot to know when you're first learning, so it can be quite overwhelming, but again, just piece it into little bits.